The manufacturing world is facing challenges right now. In the developed world, there's shrinking populations, which means it's hard to get enough people to work in manufacturing. Geopolitical tensions are reducing the viability of global trade, which means there needs to be localized production, which is to say production in higher cost areas. There needs to be some kind of solution to bring down the costs for consumers, and the solution is automation. When you think about automation, you might be thinking about, say, humanoid robots. But humanoid robots aren't ready yet for prime time. They're expensive and not reliable. But there is this whole world of existing automation products that are cheap, that are reliable, and have existed for a long time, and that's pneumatic components.
When I look at the factory floors, the real opportunities are in the more humble places. There are workers doing repetitive and tedious works, and the economics start to make that kind of job more and more challenging. So that's why there's almost imperative to replace this kind of simple jobs with machines. As we think about automation systems, there's actually a pyramid. At the very top, that's usually a software that run the whole factories. At the middle levels, there are lots of machineries. And at the lower level, there are actually quite a lot of very important components. The actuators are the last steps that touch objects. That's where these pneumatic components, the workhorse, are. This is the control of pneumatic components. It controls the compressed airs going in or out certain holes, as you can see here. These goes into the pneumatic cylinders. So that's how it is pushed the rod to go out and come back in.
With pneumatics, you're not looking at like the sexiest part. They're really just like valves and cylinders that kind of move things from point A to point B. If you went into a manufacturing facility, you probably wouldn't even notice that they're there. The reality is, this is how stuff gets built. This is kind of how the world goes around, is because of parts like pneumatic components.
Well, pneumatic is definitely much cheaper than the other alternatives and is widely used in many industries, so there's a lot of expertise accumulated over the long period of time. It looks very simple. But from an investor perspective, that's wonderful because the industry stays stable and the steady growth rate can compound over a long period of time.
The industry is surprisingly consolidated in China specifically. There's really only 3 players that control the bulk of the market. It's really difficult for new entrants to come in because A, there's established brands, B, there's tons of different types of products, different units. So you can't just disrupt like one thing. You've got to disrupt this whole portfolio. Getting those products out to the customers, you need extensive distribution. You need the capability to manufacture them, so you need scale. It becomes really difficult, which is why it's a consolidated market, which is why it's an attractive area of investment. One company that we like, AirTac, has 300,000 devices that they sell just in China.
In recent years, AirTac discovered a lot of fast-growing industries in China that could benefit from pneumatic components, such as the smartphone manufacturing, such as EV battery manufacturing. These EV battery pack are quite heavy, so if humans have to lift it, it can easily cause injuries to that worker.
What AirTac did over time is they developed into this like local leader. They've kind of always looked at just good enough, the lower end of potential applications. They're happy to let SMC do the super high-end stuff, and they just kind of slowly work their way up. And over time, they've grown their market share from effectively like 0% to today close to 30%. So one challenge to the pneumatic component business, especially to AirTac's model particularly, Because it's so vertically integrated, you need to have all this manufacturing capacity to be able to make some 300,000 different types of products, which means that there can be kind of a cash flow lag. But the returns of these investments that they make are excellent. You might not get the excitement factor of humanoid robots, but pneumatic devices is growing mid-single digits, slightly faster than GDP, because there's this kind of secular shift from people to automation, and that's still going on. Pneumatics are still the primary source of motion within manufacturing. Compressed air is cheap and it's easy and effective. Anywhere there's manufacturing, there's going to be pneumatics.
It looks very boring, looks very simple, but in our opinion, boring is often very good.
Would you say boring is cool?
No, it doesn't have to be cool. It doesn't have, boring is boring, but boring is good.